It started with games. Simple things. Pixels, buttons, a bit of fun. Then, somewhere along the way, the big platforms moved in. Last year, $200 billion flowed upwards, away from the people who actually play. This year, they take it back. YOM, where players play games straight from your PC, not a data center in Virginia. Meet Tyler Pemberton. Yes, this looks dramatic, but he's perfectly fine. Tyler's offline. His PC isn't. 47 players streaming from his GPU right now. Even AFK, Tyler's rig is pulling its weight. He's making money in his sleep. Maybe this is what happens when gamers finally take control of their own world. Turn your idle GPU into passive income. YOM.net. Eat, sleep, earn, repeat.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everyone. Hey, Jeroen, how are you?
Yo. Hey.
How you like that video? How you like that intro?
It's nice. I like it.
Do you see really nice. How dark my beard is when the computer gets a hold of it?
Yeah. My girlfriend also showed the photo, and she actually the first reaction was like, "You look like a toy boy." Like, what the hell? Yeah. I mean, I like the jacket. I really want to have the jacket if that's possible.
Well, I'd love to see if we can get those things wrangled up. Welcome everybody to the town hall. Excuse my frog in my throat. So everyone, we're gonna go over some of the stuff from the community and season 1 and season 2, and talk about where the project is. And I've got some interesting news to share too. So welcome. If you haven't been here to a town hall with YOM yet, maybe you came over because you saw us. I was on Team One's Apex Team One's Spaces yesterday, and Andy also appeared inside their Discord the day before that. So we got a lot of people from Avalanche who are coming on board and seeing what YOM is for the first time, and they may not know exactly what we do. Just as a quick recap, once again, people who have an idle gaming rig at home, they can earn passive income by letting us use their GPU cycles when they're not using their computer, and it can be pretty sizable. We use those GPUs at the edge to stream AAA game content to players who are wanting to play the game but don't have the hardware at home or don't have the console. What this means for the gaming industry is a much larger player pool for the AAA quality, high quality games than ever was available before. And we do this with our decentralized cloud, which is very different from the current version of cloud gaming, which is all done through a central server, which is super expensive, prone with lag, oftentimes long queues, a high subscription fee for a service that really isn't performing. What we do by decentralizing the network and having it on people's home gaming rigs is we bring the cost way down, we bring the speed way up, and we help to have those gamers earn money, which they just turn around and spend back into the gaming industry. So it's a nice circle for those people who want to. So obviously you can find us on YOM.net if you're getting us for the first time and see what all we offer. But let's jump into it a little bit. Anything I missed in the intro, Jeroen, that I should? You're the marketing guy. Did I do that okay?
You do it really, really nice, man. I like it. I mean, how many episodes is this already? This is
65.
episode 65.
We're on 60. Yeah, and that's 65 from when we started numbering. I don't know that I numbered at the very beginning.
Really? Yeah.
Although,
No,
no,
it's
man, I take that back. I think I went back and renamed them. You encouraged me to start numbering them, and I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. Why haven't I done that? Yeah,
Yeah, I
65.
always listen to podcasts and they hear like, "Oh, episode 640," and like 640. That means that you're actually doing it like for over more than 4 years. I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
wow,
Well, that's if
that's
they do
amazing.
one a week. So yeah, I do that too. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I remember the one guy I listened to, and he hit 1,000. I was like, holy cow, is he doing? But
Yeah.
he does like 4 a week. So to be fair, he gets to them pretty fast.
Uh,
All right, so let's jump into. Usually, what I do is so everyone should know that our mascot is Walter. He's a slightly overweight, rust-colored gorilla who wears jeans and a white T-shirt. And this image came out this past week from one of our community members. I do like it a lot. On Wednesday, I called him the winner for the weekly contest. Not really a contest. We just award XP for those people who are submitting images. This is from Von Zugchain, and we appreciate it. But for this week, this one here came in, and I thought this was pretty damn sweet. This is from Pin 2. So Pin2 _33. You want to give them a follow, but this is a sweet, nice, sweet Walter image. The prompt again is Walter is a rust-colored gorilla, slightly overweight rust-colored gorilla. He wears a white T-shirt that says YOM and blue jeans, and he has round blue tinted sunglasses. That's kind of all we ever give the AI, and this is what they come up with.
There's so much money in this photo. Oh my god. And
well, I mean, he's focused and he gains and earns some repeats.
it's a really lot of money. Even gold.
Yeah. Well, he's smart. I mean, that's where the money's really going to be. Let me do some real quick industry news because something dropped today, right? That is for some people distressing, and for us, once again, validating for us. Nintendo let out a press release telling us how much they're going to charge now for the Switch 2. They're raising the price. I'm going to zoom in on a little bit. They're raising the price of the Switch 2 in US dollar terms. It's going up from $450 up to $500. So, and then in Canada, that's up another $50 in Canadian too. So, in Europe, it's going to go from 469 euros to 499 euros. And I touched on this a couple of weeks back. What's amazing is that generally what would used to happen is a console would drop its price later on in its life to see if you could grab a few more adopters who didn't buy it at the initial price. They were waiting for the price to drop, and at the end of the life cycle of that console, that they dropped the price and to rope in some more players. This cycle, and this is due to the hardware costs just going up and up and up. Getting the way that AI is sucking up not just GPU cycles but also RAM and all the other components for building high-end computers. It's forcing them to raise their prices, which is, again, it's just going to signal that less people are going to adopt the consoles and more are going to look for cloud gaming as a solution, as a way to get to games.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big increase also in just handheld, etc. So you probably have some news around that too about Sony. But yeah, I can imagine the consoles is the end of the story. In the end, it's decreasing tremendously, and yeah.
Well, that came out. I talked about that earlier in the week on Wednesday. I'll do the quick version of it, but yeah, PlayStation 6 dropped some news about what they're planning to do with their gaming when they drop the PlayStation 6. But first, just to back up again, the rumors are they're going to charge $1,000 for this console, and there's just no way that people are going to. I mean, there's going to be some people who will pay out $1,000 for a gaming console, and it'll become more and more elite. But everyone else is going to be looking at a cloud to play because they're just not going to be able to afford it. And Sony knows this, so they announced some of the details they're looking into for their cloud services, and then some of it aren't announcements. This I was telling the folks on Wednesday who tuned in. You're on the investigative journalists who are looking into this story. What they did was they went to the LinkedIn profiles of people who are now working in this division, and from there they're kind of making assumptions about what kind of work that's going into the PlayStation 6, which I think is pretty clever. But I vetted it myself. Wow. I think their reasoning is sound.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that what they do is talk about, I think that's pretty public knowledge, is they're talking about the components that they're going to be using in their cloud and the speed in which they do the read and write on these SSDs. Which, I mean, that is a component of making your cloud run well, is having a good read and write speed on your SSDs. But that is only part of the picture. Again, if they're still going to be putting these high-end SSDs into their centralized server, you still got to come up with a way to get from that server to the end user across, a distance that can be at some places inordinate. And it's just going to still have lag introduced from the distance.
Especially also like the older, like I read that Sony is also using an older framework, like compared to Microsoft. Microsoft is way further in that case.
Yeah, well, so the legacy tech debt, right? If you're trying to rebuild, they're gonna. This is almost always the case, right? With these large systems, you try to change as little as possible because every change you make is more expensive and exponentially more expensive as as it gets larger and larger. So it wouldn't surprise me at all that they're using legacy architecture and just putting on new equipment and hoping that solves the problem. But regardless, it's going to be more expensive anyways to run those central servers because they're going with these faster machines, and they're not going to get up past. So I think the way that I would summarize is they decided, hey, let's just build our data centers bigger and better. And we're saying, no, go to the edge. At the edge is where you're going to get the best speed and the best performance and the least cost, because at the edge we're sharing the load with people who have got a gaming rig at home. And then the other thing, I think the thing that came out from the LinkedIn research is they're going to be using AI to up-res the final image. So they know they've got to down-res the image that they send from their cloud so much so that when the receiver gets it, they got to up-res it. But if that's just going to add fuzziness. It's going to take a lot to make it look decent, and probably will never look as good as what we do, which is, of course, keep the original image because we're again right there near the end user.
It's the same. It's almost the same story as like which flagship phone do you buy? Do you get? Because Google phones normally have like way better software in terms of, and then that translates also to better like photo quality. And then, but yeah, who has the better specs? What's the real deal here?
Right.
But yeah, with gaming, I suppose that you can definitely tell the difference. I mean, that's way more complex, I think, to transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's my industry wrap up. Again, the longer version of the rant that I went into on Sony, and I actually included some ranting about Microsoft as well, their Xbox changes, because there's a big shuffle going on at Xbox too with their staffing and everything. But I won't go into it here. Wednesday night's broadcast, again, if you go back and look at episode 64, you'll get to hear more of me talking about this stuff. But let's talk about our community stuff. Jeroen, we kicked off season 2 a little more. 2 weeks ago now. Are we 2 weeks into it?
Yeah, like last Friday, only a week.
Oh, it was only a week.
Last week. I mean, yeah, last week was
You're right. It was.
So for people who just watch us from the front end, I would say, is they see quests, they see a new platform, they join, and well, maybe it was for some, it hopefully was butter smooth. Maybe for some at the very beginning it was not butter smooth because our database was just getting a lot of pressure, which was I mean, you have worse things obviously in life, but yeah, we had to migrate everyone from the current snag questing that we actually used to pay for, and we built our own system, so we had to migrate everyone, and there was also a big reveal. I mean, like some of the tech fellas, like Patrick, for instance, he deserves really a mention. He just built this entire system himself, and that's pretty. That's pretty cool, especially in these days where you can build a lot of stuff yourself, obviously. But it has been very smooth. It has been very good as far. And I'm just checking now. I'm watching my screen here down, and I see like we have. Only today we had like 30,000 active users.
Wait a minute, 30,000 added or 30,000
active users? Only in 1 week, we had like more than 100. Like it's now 102,000 users, active users, this week.
Crazy.
So basically a week long. Yeah. Which is pretty decent, I must say. It's good.
You talk about Patrick doing a system that gets us away from having to pay from an outside service, and of course, when that was first raised, I had concerns because I was like, well, will that distract us from the other parts of the project that we need to make? But Patrick actually has a lot of expertise in building these systems, so that was part of the reason why we went that direction. But the second thing, the thing that convinced me about it was We now have the flexibility in our own hands about what kind of things we can add on to it, what kind of things are important for what we want to do. I think when we were using an outside service, we're kind of locked into the way that they do their way that they handle communities, or excuse me, the way that every project uses their service does communities. And we understand our community to be different than your average projects community. We think they're smarter, they're more tech savvy, and we want to be able to
Exactly. Yeah.
scale and use things that we build ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, lot of. I mean, a lot of these tools are focused on building hype. I mean, in crypto industry, you need hype. Also, in traditional marketing, you need hype, obviously.
Right.
But the point is, once it reaches hype, then you have product. People become product users. They either buy or test or are basically experiencing your product. And for a matter of fact, in the end, the YOM network is run by gamers itself. So either you game or you don't game and give compute power to the network. So in a sense, if we would have just stick to the old tooling, then we would never have the option to also build the whole questing system, not only on a social perspective, but mostly on a product perspective. So we want to earn like nano hosts in the end, like hosts on the network. We want to earn them for what they do, for their performance. Like if you run a host, like let's say for 5 days in a row without even just turning off your PC, well, you get rewarded obviously, because we want to have that balance. So that this migration also offers us this option to actively offer to the community itself, and they can find it. Eventually, they can find it in the questing system, which is super cool. So we have the social, the people who would love to do some stuff on X, like to talk about YOM, join discussions, feel the vision. And on the other hand, we have the people who just run the network, and they will be served. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And again, I think it was a wise decision, I think, to put Patrick's time there. And gosh, he was putting in he was up at all hours of the evening and working on weekends. I mean, the guy he's a hard charger, but
I
right.
honestly asked him, like, dude, do you have any weekend? Like, is there like he's always online. We should we worry?
He stepped away for a scuba diving trip, I think, and that was fun for him, and we all were happy to have him take that break.
We're very happy. He's cool his mind off, like 40 meters deep.
I mean, scuba diving would be one of if I ever had a chance to get a hobby, that would be one I would pick up. I think it's a pretty cool. One day I'm going to have him on. Just going to talk scuba.
I think it really depends though where you are. I mean, he does it in Holland, the Netherlands. I mean, for people who don't know the Netherlands, it's flat. It doesn't have huge nature in, let's say, the States or somewhere else in Europe, I must say. But like the whole diving, I think it would be better to do it somewhere else, like maybe I don't know, Malta or those areas. But all right. Let's talk about the rewards. Let's talk about seasons.
Okay. First of all, so can you just do a quick rundown again? Now, I tried to do my best to explain the reason why having season 1 and season 2, like breaking up the reward structure to have seasons at all is important. But can you give a give a better version than my version of why that's important?
Yeah. I haven't checked that last version that you did, like in the previous version. So maybe I'm not sure how we can compare that rightfully. But so the whole goal of last year's questing started with, all right, we have a product, and in crypto landscape, you want to have a lot of hype to get people use the product. So we started to look for a partner, and then we launched a bunch of quests. We launched a loyalty campaign, and people know it by now by season 1. So we did that, and it went pretty well. I must say, like, I'm a marketing guy, so I look at data and I see lots of numbers. I see a lot of wallets connected, like over 800,000. And I think, wow, that's pretty darn good. That's actually maybe too good, to be honest. That's only wow. And then I realized, okay, this is exploding. Which is, again, if you talk to friends and you say, well, yeah, we've been running a project, it went very well, like a lot of people connected to the wallet and blah, blah, but in the end, you want to have people who actively use the network. No, well, season 1 went by. I mean, that loyalty program went by. As a matter of fact, we wanted to basically start our own questing platform. So we thought, okay, um, why don't we want to reward people equally in a sense? I mean, if you are a grinder and you're here for the first hour, then obviously you deserve to have it ranked well, to have your XP obviously brought with you. To show people and to show off to people obviously that you've been grinding and been doing very very good work. So in order to keep that respect, we wanted to introduce seasons. And seasons is basically, season one was really long. I must say, it was from October last year, pretty much until like the 16th of April. Now that was very long. Obviously, we had some delays of our TGE, unfortunately. Um, but we wanted to align it. We wanted to align the season one with the TGE in the end. Well, that didn't happen. So we thought, okay, we need to do something now. Then we thought, okay, we migrate to a different tool. We wanted to reward everyone equally. So we started off season two. Now, season two and like the seasonality in this sense means that you will start with 0 XP, not your lifetime XP, because you have your lifetime XP. This is also connected to the ranks that you have. There are 10 ranks in total. But you start off with 0 XP every season. Now, this season is only 3 months. It runs 3 months. It's shorter than the season one because we thought, okay, we don't want to have people grind for a very long time without knowing when to convert it. Because in the end, you're not grinding for free, obviously. We understand. But yeah, so the whole the whole season itself, that's basically seasonality.
Yeah, what I explained to people was it's the same way that we do a leaderboard in a game, right? The best way to do leaderboards in a game is not to have a single leaderboard that goes forever, because the people who jump in later are completely discouraged to get involved because there's somebody on top of the leaderboard that's just so far away. So by having a reset every 3 months, it allows people to kind of say, okay, there was a winner for that season and that person's lifetime achievement goes on, but there's a second leaderboard that goes on for the season. Or, we would do it in games. You do a weekly leaderboard, a monthly leaderboard, and then an all-time leaderboard. And that way you always felt like some accomplishment is happening, in a smaller time span.
Yeah. And don't forget, we also had before this, we had like bounties on Discord. So before I started at YOM, I realized that there was a big group on Discord only who actively participated there in quests, but they were not called quests; they were called bounties.
Right.
There was a system that was already running. And there were there still are like 30 ranks within only the Discord YOM Discord community. So there are a lot of variables, etc. So what happened with migrating to an entire one system fits all, like one size fits all system, is that you have to equally treat everyone equally, and that's kind of challenging in a sense, because you have a lot of people who, let's say, claim the elite badge from the snagging. Like we had collaborations, we had over 200 collaborations, so special collaborations with communities. They could claim the badge and then they can earn an allocation, an airdrop in this case. So we have that. We have people who are already here from the first hour who are basically doing stuff in bounties, had ranks themselves, while the questers from Snag didn't even know what it was. They were just actively engaging in the quests on the snagging side. We have that, and then you have a lot of people who really have a lot of XP because they were just running the system almost. And like, okay, and then put everything on one pile and then say, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to treat everyone equally?
I had forgotten that you took over the role from, we had one other guy, and I think I think Patrick and I were trying to handle it at the beginning. That didn't work because neither one of us had that kind of experience. And then we had a marketing manager who stuck with us for a little while, and he created a system as well, but then he had to leave. And then we were able to coax you back into the project. So you had to deal with 2 incomplete systems, plus the one that you eventually said, this is the way to do it. And which is what season 2 is going to look very clean in that respect, because there's not having to drag along 2 legacy systems. And that, I think, leads to the complexity of the reward tiering structure that we ended up having to, or that we're still kind of making sure that we do it the right way.
Yeah, exactly. So, you said it exactly right. So what's now the goal? I mean, it has been the goal already for, like, let's say, some weeks now. But the focus first was get the new snagging system, this questing system live. Well, it's live now. Actively engage with new quests. Get people to do new quests, because you want to be competitive in a sense. That's on the background. That's being done by colleagues, by the different team members of the marketing team. And what we're doing now is we're actually have this entire mountain of data, and then we're going to check, okay, who is actually within like the 10K. Well, that's the 10K participants, because we're going to only reward people who are within the 10K position. Now, why can we do this? Or why would we do this? If we would give away like reward everyone in a sense, then you won't earn anything.
That's 800,000 wallets. How could we?
No, yeah, exactly. So let's say you take 300,000, then again, you don't have that much a person. So and that's and we don't want to go for that, obviously, because we want to reward people who are actively doing stuff. So
and recently, I know it popped up into our community channel. Some people are making the they're trying to make the case. Maybe one person making the case to say all 10,000 should get the same reward, and that is just fundamentally against the way that we think here at YOM, or at least I know that I think I speak for everyone when I say we're a meritocracy based. If you put in a whole bunch more effort, then you should be getting your reward should be reciprocated in that way. There's no way that we can give the person who ranked 999, 9,999th, the same reward as a guy who earned second place, because it's such a huge disparity in the effort they put in. We, with our token, we talk often about the token is a measurement of how much value you add to the network, because as you operate a node and you have your nano running more hours and you've got a better system so you can handle more work, you should be earning more YOM tokens, and you will. But to say that the people who are doing the questing, who put in the more effort, get the same amount as people who put in less effort, that just goes against the whole purpose of value, right?
Completely. Yeah, it's like the same when you offer a stable network, then you need people who are actively working and offering the stability to the network. And for an operator, that means you have to get your PC on all the time. Right. Meaning that it's not for free, obviously, because it costs money. You have to get your PC on all the time. I mean, that's actually also a performance metric in this sense. So the longer you put your PC on, the better reward you get eventually. And it's the same with social quests, obviously. So yeah, we don't go for a flat system. No. Which brings me also to the point that we also already introduced in the app. People can go, if they go into the app itself, they log in and they go to the rewards tab on the quest. So you have a menu and you see quests. You hit that, you go to the rewards tab on the quest menu, and then you'll find a link to season 1. And that also says which position you already have among all these participants. So if you are in...
Let me go ahead and bring up the screen. There you go.
Yeah. So if you're in quest,
I'm still bronze, but I'm not questing. I'm a team member. Doesn't seem fair.
Shame on you.
Well, it doesn't seem fair. I feel like I'm at the inside advantage if I start doing quests.
Yeah,
but point me towards what you want to point out.
Let me get your screen, because the screen itself is a little bit small. But yeah, if you go scroll down now, there you go. So this is basically a section that actually explains the number of participants in the top 10,000. Yeah, there you go. And do you see a link like view your season 1 tier? And if you go there, there's basically a season 1 final results page. And this is where you can check which position you have, how much XP you have, etc. Well, you have 0 XP, I see. So that's not good.
Again, folks, I sit this out intentionally. So don't do what I do. You go ahead and go earn.
Again, and this explains literally like how to which allocation group you are, because if you scroll down a bit,
I backed out already.
So go to the same page and then scroll down. Yeah, this is the ladder that you have. So you have The top earners are the top 250, and then everything below you have like let's say 5,000 up to 10,000 XP. This is also a specific part, a specific group, and this is like ranked. So basically, this is the premium allocation. Then you have that diamond allocation, and the higher the allocation, obviously, the more rewards you get. Now, also a question I get, like, okay, so Jeroen, let's say I'm a number 249, and well, you have a number one. Do I get equally rewarded because I am within this diamond allocation? Then the answer is obviously no, because the more you do, the higher your position is, the more XP you have, the higher reward you get. Now, and I can hear people ask, like, okay, give me the reward. Well, we don't have the right amount on a user base yet, but I can tell you that I'm not sure if you already told this, by the way, last
No, I don't
last
think I
week.
did.
The pool itself will be larger than $100,000. So we decided to put a little bit more compared to the season 2.
Right.
Again, more than $100,000, and we will definitely tell you, share with you what your precise allocation will be, and we will share this also in May. But
And
yeah,
you'll
I
see it.
can't do it right now.
You'll see it here
Unfortunately.
in your dashboard. Your reward.
Yeah,
The app will show you when we have that released.
yeah. So a new cool thing in the app is that it has a notification feature, so we actually can send out individual notifications to users.
Oh,
So
nice.
we will obviously announce this on our X, like on the socials. But if you want to go in detail on what kind of allocations you get, then you'll get a notification.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so you'll be personally invited to
And,
check it out.
and it makes sense that there's more being rewarded in season 1 than season 2, just because the time it was like twice as long, a little bit more than twice as long as what season 2 is going to be.
Yeah. It's but also like, yeah, you, we have a lot of questions like when TG, obviously, and the thing is like, okay, well, let's go do TG next week, and then, well, you know what, we see what happens. But the thing is that you want to align as much as possible, which is not only Quest, to be honest. Is there's a lot of stuff going on.
Well,
Uh,
I explained on Wednesday night. You know, the step we're in right now is making sure that all the exchanges that we're launching on they all have a window at the same time.
Yeah.
And aligning these various groups to give us a window that we all can agree on is not particularly easy. So that's part of the negotiations we're in.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. We are unfortunately waiting. I mean, waiting is the most stupid thing ever, because if people know me personally, I'm the type of person who is really impatient. I was also the person who said no more delays when I started YOM. Well, that's the mindset I have here. So we are doing really our best to get like the precise moment to get like a very successful story for even the token launch, but most importantly for the network itself, to have a really cool kickoff of the network, where we basically have gamers that run the network by itself, and challenge Sony, because who wants to buy a handheld console?
Or $1,000 console. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
All right. We'll have to be. So I guess let's talk about what's in store for season 2, like beyond the rewards, because there's so much more we're talking about.
Yeah. So season 2, we have at the moment running, I believe, 14 quests now. So the whole goal is that we actually, on a weekly base, are going to add some quests. And quests now are mostly help us get to know other people, YOM. So help us increase reach. Now, the funny thing in marketing is that you have a lot of phases in which let's say, phases of marketing. So the first, obviously, is the awareness phase. You shout from the roofs that you're perfect and you do this, you solve this problem, and blah blah blah. But in the end, it all matters on who is coming back and who is converting to, let's say, either a host to buy a nano and then basically run run the network, or either play a game or on the network, or be a studio and offer your perfect game to your community on the network. Now, these all like pawns have to be in balance, obviously. So next questing, like the focus on the questing should be next, like upcoming week should be like, let me put it this way. We'll be adding new social quests. So expect this on a weekly base. But we're also exploring at the moment, and I can tell you already preparing some really gaming contest vibes of quests, meaning that people can sign up to actually actively game on the network and get rewarded, which is in a sense even makes more sense because we obviously, in the crypto landscape you have a lot of stuff going on with hypes. We have a lot of projects who lean toward hype and then it's a bubble. But we're a tech company and we need our community to actually explore the tech itself and to reach, shout from the roofs that the network is currently here and that we are rolling out the network now, and that we actually sending out nanos, which is actually a little bit of a eye wink here because, well, if you are a nano holder and you bought the nano, you can actually expect it in upcoming weeks to get your nano. I mean, if the shipment goes right, but we're starting delivery of the nano. So yeah, in the end, that's going to be the gaming contest, the gaming quests. So how what it look like is basically we are going to organize game events, and people can participate. You can basically beat the dev team. So you'll be actually gaming. You'll be playing against the dev team. Especially Dirk, one of the guys. He's really waiting for that moment because I heard he's a pretty good gamer.
So just like the running joke that you and I, or the running contest you and I have been running on MVR, the Roughneck Rumble.
Yeah.
I think you still have the lead on me, and it's kind of upsetting, but just the high score lead. But yeah, I think I'm kind of pretty looking forward to it myself. Not that I'm any kind of great gamer. I've lost my Twitch speed a while ago, but I still enjoy, a good competition. And sometimes, it's not about necessarily winning. It's sometimes just getting that headshot that no one expected that makes me happy. So
yeah. But what kind of games did you play normally?
I played a ton of Half-Life, the original Half-Life. We played every afternoon at lunch for like a year.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
and then so that was my first person shooter of choice. And then when Gary's Mod came out, I did a whole bunch. Gary's Mod was like taking the engine from Half-Life and creating your own games out of it. So I did a ton of that stuff. And then I was a big racing guy. I love the racing games too. So I played a whole bunch of like Need for Speed and some of the other ones. Hitman, not Hitman, Stuntman, and then Dirt and some of the other ones as well.
Nice. Yeah, I think the game we were actually discussing was Team Fortress, I would say. That was one of the ideas. So I was actually trying to play it on the office, but I suck it. I suck. I really suck. Yeah,
that'll be a good one. So gaming nights are coming in part of season 2.
Yeah.
And not just gaming just to test the network, but gaming to earn XP as well.
Yes, exactly. So that's from the gamer perspective, and then from the host perspective, like when people get their host, they also get paid for it because they get rewarded for having their PC like running. So those quests will also be visible in the quest overview. So we have social quest, gaming quest, and we have host quest. Well, now, and the funny thing, the most important thing is also I wanted to get this out also is the network itself also runs on gamers and runs on hosts in a sense. So these are the most important pawns. Like I say pawns, but it's like really a marketing thing. But the most important, like almost pillars for the system itself to work. Without those, we also are just a hype project, and that's not the whole. That's not the goal. So
well, I'm gonna. To be fair, we were talking about this in the other channel, but we won't name names. But there are other cloud gaming services who abandoned the idea of decentralized cloud because it was just they realized it was too hard to do and easier to go a different way. And maybe someone in the chat will say their name, but I won't say their name. What I'll say is that we decided to focus strictly on games because we knew it was the hardest piece. And once you do the hardest piece, the other pieces become very easy to do. So with our network live, with the Alpha network up and live, I think we're past the idea that we're just a hype phase or we're just vaporware. Maybe it's vaporware that I say. We're not vaporware, obviously, because it works and it works well. And we've seen game sessions that have gone, 45 minutes to an hour with 7 millisecond average frame rate. So
Yeah.
Anyways,
No, I know the project that you're talking about. Yeah, that's they get funded like heavily. They
but that
have
was the early days.
millions of dollars.
But that was the early days of blockchain when investors were throwing money just kind of anywhere willy nilly, and a lot of those projects have kind of blown away in the wind, which is to be expected and a little sad, really, because I still have high hopes for blockchain being a solution for so many people. The idea of again, you at home can earn money just from the equipment that you own. This is a great benefit to the way that the economies of the world, the way the world economy is working is going to change, right? We see AI taking a whole bunch of jobs away from people. So then people are starting to panic, like, how am I going to earn an income? Well, universal basic income is one way to do it, but that means the government has complete control over you, which is not great either. No. But owning equipment and earning money from the equipment that you own in the similar model to Uber or one of those other systems, but even more passive with what we're offering. I think again that we're walking into a new future and becoming a contributing member to the framework of this new economic future. That may seem highfalutin, or like I'm a little pie in the sky, but I don't necessarily think so.
No, you have to be some kind of high in the sky. You have to have some high in the sky spirit eventually. I mean, like no one believes you at first until it happens, and then they realize it's normal. It's a normal behavior in the market in a sense. And the fact is that like a lot of people are actually saying this, but like when is it true? You have to prove until some people see it's true. But have you ever thought about doing town halls? Not maybe town halls itself, but doing rant sessions. Maybe Jorrit, our CEO, can actually join, and then you realize that he also said something about Bitcoin back in the days that Bitcoin was a meme, and I don't want to go over that now because I disagree in fact, but I know where he's coming from though. But yeah, I think it would be very very cool to have you guys doing rants, to maybe invite people from the community who are also basically focusing on the compute power of the future and how does it work and how does even employment work and what is it? Yeah, what's the development in AI, etc. To basically explore that part a bit.
I would love to. Maybe we have to find a way to do this. I would love to have. Probably don't do it on town halls. Maybe we do spaces, but spaces where we just talk about like what is the future and why is a system like what we're building so important for people as the economy rolls over and does something different, or the way that earning income or transferring of value changes in the future. And then have community members just jump into the conversation. I think I would really like to hear how because our community is all over the world, and I don't want to be so. I don't feel like I'm very monoscopic, where I think, the U.S. is the center of the world, so everyone's going to do what we're doing. I think there's great ideas and great the differences in the way that everyone lives around the world offers great information, and we should be listening to all of it. So I'd like the chance to get to talk to some people who are living in like the Philippines and South Korea, as well as Amsterdam and South America. There's so many places around the world that are looking at things in a different way, but we're all kind of seeing the same direction.
Yeah. I think a lot of people actually also feel this and know this, and definitely would like to talk about this. Also, that's purely also based on the number of rig checks that we get, from all over the globe. It's insane. It's like sometimes it just pops up a country, and I think that even country does it. Where is that? Like I even think of implementing in the app like a map of because like the network itself is relatively small now. I mean, we are a startup. Come on, that's a real fact. That's a real deal. However, there are so many people who actively engage with this rig check that they really want to know, how their rig is going to pay for them instead of just having it idle and do nothing. And
we need a heat map on the. We need a heat map of the world where rig checks are happening from.
yeah, that's insane. Like a lot of projects, I've been scanning other projects who visually do that, and
It's
with
in the backlog. We just, but Patrick's.
oh, we have all the
Well,
info. I mean, we have all the info. Sounds weird, but we have all the data set to actively do that. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
time is, it's also like, who do you serve at first, because yeah, you want to obviously serve the community and make your story like useful and trustworthy and convince people. But on the other hand, you want to roll out as many hosts as possible because that brings you stability. So yeah, it's having multiple goggles and watch through multiple goggles.
Yeah.
It's
So we've got game nights coming up. We've got more
Yep.
quests coming up. They're going to be quests both for the community members on social and quests for people who are operating nano devices.
Yeah.
That cover like the big pieces of season 2. Anything else?
Yeah. I mean the ranks themselves. I mean, maybe you haven't. Maybe you can share your screen for a moment.
Yeah, you want to see the ranks again?
Yeah. Just scroll through the ranks. Because now I'll just wait for you to share the screen. Then, yeah. If you go to rewards page and then you have a ladder. Yeah, that's your lifetime ranks. So everyone who actually came from Discord and were active also before the seasons, before the loyalty campaign from last year, your XP is safe. You probably have seen it. If it's not the point, if it's not true, you think you have more or less XP if you're really honest about it. But you can just claim it, put a Discord ticket in, and then we just actively engage with that and check it out, and we make it work. But yeah, click on the explore button if you like, and then you have this explanation of the ranks which are actively. So you have 4 brackets. You're static. Yeah, so there are like 10 ranks.
Okay.
And you have 4 brackets. And this shows your lifetime rank in a sense. So every season, the XP will go into your lifetime rank, and we will be flowing in some perks and some physical rewards also into this lifetime rank system. So yeah, in the end, you want to have people who be with you for a very long time. We can actively seek for maybe a DAOs to have them on board. And this is the first system. This is the first setup. So if you watch this, you're very early. That's the whole thing.
One of the things we talked about too is as we team up with different game projects, we could do like game nights or test events where we only allow people who have reached, say, the legendary bracket to join us for those plays. So we prioritize those over the people who are at the lower brackets.
Yeah. And then the hyperorg, which comes from the hyper orchestrator.
Of course.
But no, I'm not sure. Not everyone knows that.
Oh, okay.
Check out the docs.
I got a couple questions. So we're getting shorter on time, but there are a couple questions I think I want to jump into, just because I think there's some good questions we're getting from the community. I got one from looks like Tamar's. What's the biggest lesson the team learned from season 1 and the community feedback so far?
What's the biggest lesson? I'm just trying to find. There's so many comments. Am I right? Yeah, there are a lot of comments. Okay,
about 24-minute mark.
What do you? Okay, I can't see that here. So can you repeat one more time?
Sure. What was the biggest lesson the team learned from season 1 and the community feedback so far? Like what has the community taught us in season 1 that we applied to season 2?
What the community has taught us.
I'll tell you what
to maybe you can always do it better. So to actively create like very short communication lines. So things that happen on a daily, weekly base that are of effect for, let's say, a campaign or of effect of someone from the community should be like transparent, communicated like frequently. So you want to be as much updated as possible in a sense. That's what we really learned, because from effect, season 1 took off. The loyalty campaign back then, it was no season 1, but the loyalty campaign took off, and then we just thought, oh my god, like what can we do now? More than 500,000 people. Huh?
I think that was
Yeah.
my big takeaway too, is that the amount of people who heard our message, and I always said that I thought our message was pretty easy to grok, that people understand it pretty quickly, especially if they're in the gaming space. Once you get your head wrapped around the idea that cloud gaming is going to be where everyone goes in the future, then the idea of streaming from the edge just kind of makes sense. And I think the big takeaway for me was there's a lot of people who understood it pretty early on. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people who jumped in on just the idea that it's a crypto project and I get involved in every crypto project.
Yeah.
But the idea that 300,000 of them have stayed on and worked heavy in the questing and stayed part of our group and jumped into season 2 with us as well. To me, that just means that the message is resonating. People understand what we're offering the gaming industry.
Yeah. No, that's also the conclusion I'll basically draw from this. Yeah.
I got another question. Let's see. What do you think the biggest challenge for decentralized? What do you think the biggest challenge for decentralized cloud gaming is today?
The biggest challenge for decentralized cloud gaming today.
That's only really us. There's no one else doing it, right? So
then you basically have then you hit it at the right spot. I mean, explaining what this really is about. Like, does it work if you only explain what the network is about, or do you need more products that actually show what your product is all about, what your network is all about? So, in a sense, we dropped it like maybe let's say a couple of months ago, but like we were working on an aggregator. I'm not going to tell you anything about it because just wanted to get this out of there, but that helps us prove what we're doing, and that's not for only the community and people who like the game. No, it's mostly for investors, because then they have, now in the days, if you have an AI product or you have a product and you put AI behind it and then you claim that it's a new AI hype, people get money for it. Because it is already proven that it is kind of a successful story, while it's not, because the biggest LLMs, they don't earn any money. I mean, they will be break even into 2030 if they are really lucky. But again, that might be the biggest take. I think
I'm slightly different. I think if I'm asked this question, I think what I'd probably answer is that the deep in space it's a reputation issue, right? That's what I think one of our bigger concerns is. The deep in space had a whole bunch of projects that jumped in and launched at the beginning, and they pulled in a lot of VC money and they built a product and they shipped it out, but they weren't in a market that really had any kind of actual demand. So many of those projects have kind of gathered dust, and a lot of people are turning off their devices, which of course kills a deep in network. I think when we explain to people that, no, we're in the cloud gaming space, which is already a massive market, and it's a market that has a real problem, and that is latency and scaling. They can't do either of them correctly in the version that's being offered right now. So getting people to see that, yes, not every industry can do a decentralized solution and have it work. And many times the offerings that were made earlier on were for markets that didn't even exist. But we're in a space where there's a huge market already, and the products that are currently available don't work to scale into efficiency. And we've done exactly that. So I guess getting over the reputation of other deep in projects, including other gaming deep in projects who launched and pulled in a lot of money with a lot of hype. And I'm, again, going to avoid naming names, but just to say that, it can actually be done, and convincing people that it's been done correctly is part of what we have to prove. But the upside of it is you just jump onto our network and you can see it's actually working. So it's a very simple case to prove.
Yeah. No, I see a lot. I'm just reading through the entire comments. It's cool. What else do we have?
One last question, because Dizzy, I know Dizzy pays attention to all of our streams. I appreciate it, Dizzy. Could you share more about claiming of the rewards and tokens? What we've said is that we're going to get a release out that's a more thorough release, but the way you'll know is to jump into your app and you'll see the exact rewards that are coming in, made available to you, and their release schedule based on what we decide when we finally get all the data together and make that final decision. But it'll be available inside your app.yom.net link. Anything I want to add to that?
No, just like Quest itself are not just stupid quests. Obviously, I mean, what I mean with stupid quests is like, okay, we give you XP for performing an action. Okay, cool. Now, wow, that's nice. The real thing is that we also would like to hear your voice. So in a sense, we're also not really only aiming for quantitative quests, but really for qualitative quests. So I think this platform and the questing should be also like a stage where you can just share your opinion, share your thoughts about either the product, the future of Deepin, or opportunities, or maybe gaming nights. So yeah, also expect some kind of quests in that way. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah,
when I looked at past projects, again looking at the other system that we were using before we kind of went away from them, they were rewarding for. I don't know if it was actually them. There might have been a different one, but they were rewarding for just simple GMs. You jumped a GM into an X post, you were getting a
yeah.
reward. That doesn't seem like it's not really helping the project, and it was a lot of. I mean, you could almost automate that. And what we're kind of encouraging through our quest system is take the message that we have that YOM is solving a real problem that cloud gaming has. We've built technology that actually works. And we're helping the entire gaming industry and all the gamers in the world who can't have access to these AAA quality games. Like everyone in the community who's taking that message and bringing it forward on X is not just earning their XP; they're also helping the whole gaming industry. They're helping change the way that games reach players, and that's again why I'm so encouraged by our community, because many of them are getting it, and they're earning XP by saying it, but they're also saying it because they understand it.
100%. Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been at this an hour, and I generally don't like to. When we go over an hour, that means no one clicks on the YouTube video. So I'm going to start. It went fast, didn't it?
It went super fast. Yeah. I always think like before I start, like, okay, 1 hour, like what we're talking about, damn, and then we always realized it's
we have a few minutes. Anything you want to put out there? I mean, I'm going to encourage people to go to the app.yom.net/rig check. And again, that link will be in the very first pinned comment on the YouTube video. But test out and even if you've done it before and you got a result that was negative, run it a second time, run it again now, because we've updated it here recently. We've updated the rig check to be more robust and to take into account other things. So it's worth rerunning your app check if you rig check if you haven't done it recently.
Yeah, and also like performing the rig check itself will be in Quest also inside of the questing platform. So expect that. And if you are eligible and you think, wow, that this might be a good thing to experience or just discover, we're rolling out, or we're starting shipping with the first nanos. So you'll actively see the next couple of weeks, let's say months, I would say, some new dots on the map. So people who already pre-ordered the nano, and we're running a 20% discount campaign on that. So if you're eligible and you make it to the eligibility page, then you get like 20% discount because we just want to have you in.
Nice.
So yeah, explore that, and if something changes in the app, don't look at us because we're just optimizing it on a daily basis.
That's when I went over on Wednesdays. Many of the V2 nodes are up and running, but the transfer was not. It's just not a simple system, but it's a much easier version and a much more optimized version of the network that's running now too. So you're going to see faster speeds and easier connections and less drops and that kind of thing.
There you go. Yeah.
And the other thing to encourage people to do is get Walter's image out there. Pound out your like Disney would never say this. Disney would never tell you to take their Mickey Mouse and generate as many Mickey Mouse pictures as you could. We're the opposite of a Disney, right? Go take our mascot, get him out there in front of more people, generate images of him doing whatever you think makes sense. We'd say that Walter's demeanor is generally pretty laid back, but you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to have him be that way for you. But for us, he's laid back and just accepting of the inevitability of decentralized cloud gaming as the wave of the future.
There you go. So, the founder of Walter.
Yeah. I love Walter. I was so glad when we finally named him, because we've used that for a long time. But I think once we gave him a name, to my mind, that gave him a whole personality. right, that we can use.
You should, because we're we can also say like we are boring network in a sense. Okay, network. That's, I mean, the word network itself is also like, what
Yeah,
do you
right.
mean network?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, giving Walter brings us some personality in, shows us how it works. But eventually, I also expect some quests on like record your game session and just tell us what you see and tell the world what you see, because yeah, it's quite revolutionary what we're building. And yeah, I think I couldn't express that any more than this. So yeah,
All right.
that's
Well,
it.
let's work on
Yeah.
your and see if I can get him on for a rant session some night, and that'll be fun. That'll be a fun evening too.
He has some brilliant new information that he would like to share. I am 100% convinced.
Well,
Yeah.
I know what he's been on about lately, and you're right. That is super exciting. Like,
It's insane. Yeah, his
so
brain is wow. Yeah.
I don't know how he does
Don't
it.
say
But,
that. Yeah.
so maybe I'll see if I can't get him on. All
All
right,
right.
everybody. So, all right. Once again, be good to yourselves. Be good to other people. Drink lots of water. Tell someone you love them. Go outside and touch some grass. Spread the word about YOM. Go run our rig check. The link is going to be again and the pinned in the first comment. We appreciate it. And we'll talk again on Wednesday. I'll be back on Wednesday night. Thanks, everybody.
Nice. I'll be watching.